China's rapid economic transformation has been nothing short of phenomenal. It has been described globally as unparalleled in history. In 1978, China embarked on a historic journey to transform its economy and society, and succeeded in lifting 800 million people out of poverty by 2020. That's right, 800 million people were lifted out of poverty in about 40 years. That's nearly 60% of Africa's total population. This monumental economic achievement is unprecedented in history, and certainly offers valuable lessons for developing nations, particularly in Africa, with its 450 million people currently living in extreme poverty. But before we go deeper into the economic success story of China, let's highlight the degree of economic challenges which China experienced before the economic transformation commenced. And at the end, we would highlight the lessons African nations can learn from the experience of China to also rebound from poverty to prosperity. Up until 1978, China was one of the poorest nations of the world, with a per capita GDP of less than $200. In other words, China was poorer than many African nations in 1978. More than 90% of the Chinese population lived below the international poverty line. Agriculture was inefficient, industry was stagnant, and living standards were extremely poor. The turning point came in December 1978, when the then China President Deng Xiaoping, a great and pragmatic leader with a vision for a new China, launched a series of groundbreaking economic reforms that reshaped the nation's future. The economic transformation started with agricultural reforms, especially the introduction of household responsibility system, which allowed farmers to lease 3 hectares for 15 years, and to retain the surplus crops produced, over and above the government quotas. Collectivized or cooperative agriculture, a cornerstone of Maoist economic policy of Chairman Mao, the previous leader, was gradually dismantled and replaced with a household responsibility system, which was a radical departure from the past. This pivotal shift granted farmers greater autonomy over their land. The farmers' ability to sell their surplus crops increased rural incomes, thus reducing poverty. This provided incentives to farmers and significantly increased agricultural productivity and job creation. The second phase of reforms included the establishment of 4 special economic zones in the southeast coastal regions of Shantou, Shenzhen, Zhuhai, and Xiamen, which emerged as hubs of foreign investments, industrialization, and exports. Infrastructure development projects were initially concentrated in these zones, while the rest of China were asked to exercise patience for the zones to develop first. The zones attracted foreign investments through tax incentives, streamlined regulations, and favorable business conditions, spurring rapid industrial growth and job creation. China's 1 billion population at that time was also leveraged as a major attraction or selling point for attracting foreign investors, who were seeking new markets overseas. China's open-door policy encouraged foreign trade and investment, thus integrating China into the global economy. The influx of foreign capital, technology, and expertise fostered unprecedented economic growth. Exports grew, generating revenue, creating further employment opportunities, thus lifting millions out of poverty. One unique feature of China's industrial policy and foreign investment drive was the emphasis on technological learning. In other words, China insisted that foreign investments be accompanied with plans to enable Chinese engineers acquire the relevant technologies and the capabilities to make such products in China subsequently. It's like, okay, so you're interested in establishing a market presence in China and to sell your products to our 1 billion people, no problem. But you must also share the underlying technology. In cases where this was not fully successful, China executed other plans to borrow, buy, or reverse engineer such technologies. This was China's approach to learning how to make high-speed trains, electric turbines, automobiles, etc. Furthermore, in the 1990s, state-owned enterprises reforms were introduced. Government enterprises were restructured. The inefficient ones were shut down. Private enterprises were allowed to enter the industries, especially the downstream sectors. These actions improved the efficiency and competitiveness of the Chinese industrial sector. Another major attribute of China's industrial development was the intensive push for exports. All government enterprises were pushed to the limit to achieve export targets and earn foreign exchange. By the year 2010, China had become the world's second-largest economy. Although industrialization in urban centers drove China's economic engine and transformed cities into bustling hubs of activity and innovation, targeted poverty alleviation programs played a crucial role in uplifting rural communities. addressing long-standing issues of poverty and underdevelopment. Investments in rural infrastructure such as roads, electricity and irrigation improved connectivity and agricultural productivity, enabling farmers to access markets more efficiently. Access to education and healthcare expanded significantly, with new schools and clinics being built, empowering rural communities and improving their overall well-being, fostering a sense of hope and progress. These targeted interventions created a more equitable society, bridging the gap between urban and rural areas, ensuring that the benefits of economic growth reached even the most remote corners of the nation, transforming lives and landscapes alike. In early 2021, China announced the eradication of extreme poverty by end of the year 2020. As of today, China is the biggest producer of agricultural crops in the world. China has also become the world's factory, producing the widest range of manufactured products for the rest of the world. And an astonishing 800 million Chinese people have been lifted out of poverty. China also became a prosperous nation, with a GDP of 17.7 trillion US dollars and total exports of 3.3 trillion US dollars in the year 2023 alone. Now that's what I call the true definition of an economic miracle. Lessons from China for Africa. China's remarkable journey from poverty to prosperity holds invaluable lessons for African nations striving to achieve similar transformation. China's ability to lift 800 million people out of poverty over a period of 40 years should provide a tried, tested, and reliable blueprint for Africa's economic prosperity. First and foremost, China's success underscores the importance of a strong and decisive national leadership that is committed to economic development. Selfless and visionary leaders who prioritize long-term economic development goals and are willing to make tough and appropriate decisions to drive economic progress. The gradual and pragmatic approach adopted by China, characterized by experimentation and adaptation, offers a practical model for policy implementation. This method allows for flexibility, learning from mistakes, and ensuring sustainable development and economic rebound. Africa must start from the start, and that's in agricultural reforms and transformation. We must leverage our sizable, fertile arable land maximally for each country's priority crops. We need to establish special economic zones and industrial parks, provide them with the requisite infrastructure, attract investors with a package of incentives, be strategic about technology development, and drive exports effectively. Finally, active participation in global trade and attracting foreign direct investment can fuel industrialization and job creation, propelling economic expansion. Engaging with the global market opens up new opportunities for industrial development. With the right leadership, vision, policies and actions, Africa's 450 million people currently living in extreme poverty can and should also be lifted up out of poverty within the next generation or two. There's no time to waste. The clock is ticking. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, please share to spread the insights. If you're new to this channel, please don't forget to subscribe for more insightful posts on Africa's economic rebound from poverty to prosperity.